as well, because you've been kind of thrown into the spotlight now with COVID-19 because you've been revolutionizing treatment for very, very ill patients with your pulmonology and the way that you removing mucus from people's lungs. But I want to find out from you, why did you want to become a doctor? Because you also considered engineering as a course of study. So why medicine?
Well, medicine, when I was about 7 years, one of our relatives who was a nurse actually suggested that I'm going to become a good doctor. But I didn't know at that time what it entailed. And then again, when I was an asthma, one of the elderly guy who's an American citizen also suggested that maybe I must go to US and become a doctor. But I said, no, I want to be a politician. Do you know why? Because politicians got the money and they got all the cars and they got all the popularity. And I thought that was a career one, and he was disappointed. And when I came to South Africa, I also was kind of influenced by my colleagues, my peers, who think that engineering and chartered accounting, actually, that's where you make a lot of money. And I thought, okay, great, maybe I should do that so I can have a lot of money. But little did I know that actually my strength lie in medicine. And whatever I did, it pushed me to medicine. And yes, I did accept it to do actual science at Wits University at that time. But guess what? I couldn't find money. The money that I found was for me to do actually medicine. And that's why I am doing medicine. So sometimes it's not about what we think. Destiny will decide where you go. And I think my destiny is in medicine, and I really love what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it. It's my passion, and I'm enjoying it throughout my life, and hence my results.
So you've become very successful, but it's been very important for you. It's become clear in the book that it's very important for you to give back to your own communities, and you've been back to South Sudan and you've wanted to give back. So just tell me a little bit more about that. But I mean, that's also been a challenge for you because you wanted to start a water bottling plant, but that was quite difficult.
Yeah, well, my issue that I always say that I was born in Africa for a particular reason. I wasn't born in Africa by mistakes. And being a man in Africa means I have a lot to contribute to the development of the continent, and also to be a solution for the problems, not a problem to African problems, but I want to be a solution. And at that time, when I went to South Sudan is a country that is really, really devastated by civil war and lack leadership. There's the leadership there, they really have no directions. And that's where the problem is. And I thought I could contribute in the healthcare system. And of course, for me to go and work in the hospital there, I knew that the salary might not sustain me. So I need to find a solution where I could be able to get some bit of funding to fund my children's education at the same time while making difference in the government sector. And hence that was the plan for me to start bottling company with my friend in Germany, Thomas Greitens and Michelle van Steen. And that's when we started. However, the lesson to learn was that, there's a reason why countries like Malawi, South Sudan, Somalia are in that chaotic state, and why there's no prosperity in human being in the business and also in the development. It's just because of the caliber of the leaders. And that was sooner or later was taught to me in South Sudan, that the moment you have a leadership that got no visions in the country, that are engulfed in senseless war, the country cannot move forward, no matter how hard you try. So, and that's what that happened in South Sudan. Of course, when I start the projects, everybody's mentality is exactly the same as their leader. And there was no way forward. So I couldn't really succeed. Yes, we persevere, we did the project, we put up like building up, we put up infrastructure, but we couldn't start the business because there was constant war, shooting of each other on the street, innocent people have been murdered, women being raped, and all those things, which was quite painful. And of course, up to today, tells me that despite all the adversity that I felt, I never given up on South Sudan. And I think probably this year, after COVID-19 fraud die off, I'm going to start campaign to promote peace, to make sure that people understand that war might not take us anywhere. And there's no point to compete with Somalia to become one of the worst countries in the world, but we can probably do better and believe in our own ability as South Sudanese, and maybe create a better economy for everybody, because the country is very rich. It got a lot of natural resources, oil, diamonds, and all those things. But however, without a proper leadership, with everybody wanted the money with no work for it, we're not going to get anywhere. So I need to be part of solution in South Sudan and part of solution in Africa. I need to be able to motivate a lot of young people that the reason why Africa is like this, not but because of us and our leaders who are failing the continent. Until we take ownership of our problems, we will always going to be blaming other people. So I think we should be the first to admit failure in Africa before we blame the West, before we blame the Chinese or the Indian. Let's take ownership of our problems and accept it that we are failing our own people, our country, our continent. And if we can't do that, if we can't accept that, then chances are good that we'll never improve. After all, you only get better after you accepted your problems. And throughout my journey, I have not blamed anyone for my problems. I accepted why did I fail, whether I got cheated by a truck driver, whether I was thrown to prison. I always find what did I do wrong, why did I take that route, why did I make that decisions, and that's what helped me today.
I want to return to the work you're doing today with COVID patients. At this point in time, with the pandemic, a lot of people are feeling very run down. They're feeling very hopeless. It feels like it's never going to end. And as somebody who is working with COVID patients and with this disease every single day, and as somebody who also displays this incredible sense of hope and optimism, I wanted to ask you, how are you getting through all of this? And what words maybe do you have for people who are feeling very hopeless at this time?
I think one of the things that, yes, look, everybody feel exhausted. But one of the things about midstream mediclinics that since I came here about 2 years ago, one of the things that I embraced quite very well was diversity and having a teamwork. If you kind of work as a team, you are unlikely to get exhausted as compared everybody for himself. So what we did was we created a teamwork, which is led by myself and then two physicians, Dr. Godinho and Dr. Engelbrecht. And we also got support. Now we've got a new pulmonologist, which we recruited, Dr. Dineo Mapanga. So we are 4 of us. So because we could share the workload and all of us are willing to put up the same hours, so we don't feel exhausted as some of our colleagues, because we can't take a rest in between and while do a quality work toward our patients and make sure that the knowledge is shared. It's not about competition, but make sure that anybody who comes to midstream will leave the hospital with a bit of smile in their face. So that means we dedicate our time to work. So yes, we don't feel run down. We're kind of actually preparing for our third wave. We're doing a lot of drilling toward that, and we're quite very happy. So for me, it's the power of teamwork, and I would probably encourage every doctor in South Africa that in the past, everybody for himself, and I think it's time that maybe we need to embrace working together and diversity. And I think that if everybody go to a teamwork, open-minded, I think it can work. But if you go with attitude that, look, there's racism, there's xenophobia, there all those things, we're unlikely to be successful in fucking have a good work. And I think if you look at South Africa, the reason South Africa is very successful where it is because of diversity. So I think people must not forget the power of diversity, because we can learn from each other. There's a reason why certain groups are successful compared to others. And if you kind of learn here and learn from it, and I think we can become a great nation in South Africa. And I think for me, diversity is what probably make me having a lot of energy when to work, but not forgetting that I do spend a lot of time exercising, running about 5 to 8 kilometers almost 3 times a week. And that also keep me going.
Great stuff. Doctor, just finally, you end the book by saying that you're never going to stop. You talk a lot about hard work throughout the book, but then you say, you know what, it's never over for you. You're just going to keep going. But I do want to know if you have some kind of goal in mind that you work towards. How is it that you just want to keep going?
Well, I have goals. Whenever you take a journey, you must have a purpose for your journey. You're not going to take a journey aimlessly. And currently, my focus is about COVID-19 and my patient midstream in Highfield Medical Clinic, and see what can we do differently to improve the health of our patients. I think that's the first priority. But obviously, once everybody gets vaccinated, COVID-19 doesn't become a problem. I want to take a year of sabbatical, maybe go and study a bit further for another year. You know, I always have a dream of going overseas to study, like going to Harvard or Oxford. I just think that for every dinner you have, you might need to have a dessert. So I just did maybe going to one of these Ivy League university, get some bit of knowledge, and come back and maybe contribute to more to a larger society than to a small group of people. So yeah, so maybe in future I would like to go and take that sabbatical and read. And also again, as I mentioned during my interview, that I would like to spend some time in South Sudan, maybe, and be a voice of change, and maybe contribute for peaceful means that, you know what, for every small disagreement, we don't need to burn the country down. We don't need to burn the building down. We can talk as an adult and find solutions. You know, there are a lot of different kind of engagement. Maybe we should need to engage with each other. And the more you engage, the better that probably you'll find that common ground and you know, and accept different people's opinions, you know, and move forward as a country. We don't need to burn things out and make our children, women suffer. It's unnecessary. So I think we need to be able to focus into be a solution in Africa rather than being a problems and causing destruction, because anybody is so easy to cause destruction. It's so easy to burn things down. It's so easy to burn libraries down. In old school, you can burn them down today, but it takes long to build. Only a few people can build a society. And my argument is that for everybody out there, be a builder, don't be a destroyer, because that will not help us as a continent. And for decades, we've been the destroyers. Maybe it's time that we start building. And let's stop hatred. Let's embrace diversity in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Taban, many thanks for your time. I know you're a busy man, but I appreciate you talking to me. Your book is a real inspiration. Your story is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing it with me and with the viewers.
And thank you for giving this opportunity, and I appreciate it.